So the first thing you do with the overview is that you have to be undocked to do this, which is interesting.
Warp drive active.
That's just a Eve design. So on the overview, there is two boxes that are the overview. There is the selected item box, which has the buttons for things. That's the one that has the align to, the warp to, the etc, etc, etc. And then there is the actual overview, and this is the one that gives Eve the stereotypical spreadsheet in space stereotype. So in the top left-hand corner of this, there is the Eve settings window. So we're going to open our overview settings. Now the first thing that we're going to do is that we are going to create a bunch of standard overviews. So the first one that we're going to create is the go-to, like, can use this basically for everything overview. So what we're going to do is on the filters tab, on the types sub-tab, we're going to hit deselect all. And so this selects nothing, obviously. So on the ship folder, we're going to right click select all. So this means all ships are active now. And we're also going to right click in space and go to Stargate and add Stargate to overview. Or we can just simply go into Celestial and scroll down to Stargate, which is near the bottom. We're also going to add warp gating here, just in case we're digging around in LOSEC. So this here's overview is the is like the standard overview.
Warp
Now,
drive active.
this is the filters. So the filters controls what shows up on the overview. And more specifically, the types sub-tab controls what shows up on the overview, and the states shows who shows up on the overview. So currently, I have everything checked, which means everything will show up. But pilot agent is interactable, the top one. That is an NPC, we do not need that. And on the overview, we only want hostiles. We do not want any friendly characters at all showing up on our combat overview. So at the bottom, we're going to uncheck the rec ones. And then immediately above that, there is a handful here. Pilot is in your militia, pilot is in your fleet, pilot's in your corps, pilot's in your alliance. We do not want any of these. And the reason why, obviously, we don't want them on our overview. So let's scroll up a little bit, about halfway up. There is pilot has good standing and pilot has excellent standing. We want to remove these. And that's pretty much it. You want to leave the rest of them on. Now in the appearance tab at the top, what we are going to do is we're going to do some modifications here. We are going to go to the background sub-tab and you're going to uncheck everything, because these are distracting, and the less distractions that you can have in the middle of a fight, the better. In the EWAR tab, make sure everything is checked. We do care who is doing what to us. Now in the color tag, this is the important one. And part of the reason why this is important is that this is not only where you control the colors of things and you control whether they flash or not, this is also where you control the hierarchy of what gets displayed. So at the top of it, it says enable, disable, display state by selecting the corresponding checkbox. Okay, that makes sense. But drag and drop to modify priority. That's all it says. That's the only warning you get. So I'm going to, because there's people outside, I'm going to quickly add someone to my corporation. And pilot is in my fleet. Okay, so I have people in my corp and people in my fleet. Let's do in your fleet. Let's make you white. So the people in my fleet is at the top, so that is taking priority. Now if I were to switch people in my corporation to the top, then the 3 people that are in my corporation would show. Now if I uncheck that, you will see that they're in my fleet still. So priority rolls from the top of this. You can change your color of things that you want here. And it's generally a good idea to make, you know, whatever colors you do make them something that you can recognize. It's easy to recognize. Now the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to drag everything into this specific order. Pilot is in your fleet is at the top. This is the most important. Pilot is in your corporation. Pilot is in your alliance. Pilot has excellent standing. Pilot has good standing. Pilot is an ally in one or more of your wars. Pilot is in your militia. I guess I can go up to the top. So below this, like this is the good guy section. So these display first. After this, we want the wars. So pilot is at war with your corp alliance, pilot is at war with your militia, pilot has limited engagement with you, pilot is a criminal or suspect or has a security status below -5. Now this is the bad guy section. We want to right click all of these and make sure that they are blinking. And then we also want to ensure that nothing else is blinking. And if we do this, so for example, pilot's security status below 0, I actually have that unchecked. Pilot is terrible standing or bad standing, make sure that they are not blinking. And the reason why is if these 6 particular things are blinking, then no matter where you are in space, if someone is blinking on your overview, you are free to engage them without intervention from Concord. So, like I said, background, nothing on it. EWAR, we want all of these. Use small color tag, it's really obnoxious and hard to see. And use small font is, you know, if you've got like super good eyes and whatnot, you can use small font and shrink the size of your overview and you can fit more shit on it. I haven't had my surgery yet, so can't do that. Now let's switch to the columns.
Say EWAR, we wanted nothing, right?
No, EWAR, you want everything. Take this off. Alright, so now I've gone back and I've retaken the corp and the fleet off. Now in the columns tab, icon, so that's what the icon is. I prefer to have that on. Realistically, you don't actually have to have that on. It's a good indication to have it on though. Tag, you don't need that. That's fantastic for PvE, like wormholes and incursions, but don't need to do that here. Distance, name, type, velocity, and transversal velocity. These are all relevant to our interests. The order in which they appear is up to you. Again, it's click and drag for where they appear. Personally, I have icon, distance, name, type, velocity, transversal, because that's just what I'm used to. Now, in the ships tab at the top, we want to hide the corp ticker if pilot is in alliance, because that is a pain in the ass, and it takes up a lot of screen real estate when you hover over someone. So we want pilot name, we want corp ticker, alliance ticker, and then ship type. Ship name is not important. Now the overview tabs, I will talk about this in a second here. So now that we've set up this basic default overview, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the settings and we're going to save current selection type as. I would save this as combat gates because this is combat with the addition of gates on it. Now, we're going to build off of this overview. So now that we've got our combat gates, we're going to go back to the filters tab, the types sub-tab, where we're going to deselect all. We're going to go to drones, and we're going to select all, and this has become our drones overview. So save current selection as drone. That's particularly good if you're in a frigate, and you know someone's sick their Warrior 2s on you and you need to target them, well you just quickly jump to your drones tab and then off you go. So we're going to deselect all again. Now another fantastic one that we are going to do is we're going to open up the ship browser and we're going to look at EWAR ships. So we're going to add Force Recon ship, Combat Recon ship, Electronic Attack frigates, or Electronic Attack ships, sorry. I think that's it. That's it. Yes. There we go. So that's a good one. So that could be EWAR ships. Another one is, another fantastic one to do is logistics. Where is logistics? Bang. So you just throw in logistics, and that way you can single out logistics, see how many there are quickly. In 00, another fantastic one to do is interdictor. So it's interdictors and heavy interdictors. Those two, you would save that as interdictors. So this is pretty easy to understand of what we need. Like at this point, it's super easy. You can go in and you can tailor shit to what you want. Like for example, a scanning overview that I would use. I would load my like combat gates one, and once I had that loaded, I would go to structure and I'd add control tower, and I'd add force field, which is of course under celestial. Thank you, CCP. I would have Stargate, Warp Gate, Wormhole, and I would also have Where's charge? No. Where is deployable? Mobile warp disruptor? Yep, that's what would be on that. Trying to think of anything else that would be on that. Where's the assembly array? No, that sounds about right. That looks about right. And yeah, I'd save this as like a scouting overview. And part of the reason why this would be fantastic to use is that if you were to jump into a system and you see, okay, let's save this as scouting actually. I'll do a better video tutorial this. Okay, I'll give you a practical example of that in a sec. Let's switch to the overview tab. This is where you name your tabs. This is left to right at the bottom. So we'll rename this one Scout. And you just have the name and then the bracket or the overview profile that connects to it. And then the bracket profile that connects to it. So they go in the row. Now, what the bracket profile means is that when you rotate your camera and you look in space, there are certain things that appear. They're icons. These are brackets. So what you can do is, like, say for example, I switch to an overview that only has interdictors on it, and I have the bracket profile of just interdictors. Then that means when I actually go to this bracket profile, all of the other brackets will simply disappear. Now you may be asking yourself, why the hell would you ever do this? And the answer is, when there's hundreds of people in a system on grid with you, it can really chug and slow down. So Eve has introduced a way to help reduce the death rate of graphics cards and computers. In my bracket profile, it has a blank one at the top for show all brackets. Sometimes it actually says show all brackets, so I don't know why. Like, I have different accounts that say different things, like whatever. In the miscellaneous, move entries with broadcast to the top. Take that off. We don't want that shit. Brackets and targets. You can display damage notifications. You can active module links, which are great. Targeting, crosshair, display in range brackets, ships, NPs, drones. So in range is like, you're not in range. Are you in fleet? Cool. Oh god, I'm such a derp. So the in-range bracket, I'll show the in-range bracket on screen here. So right now they're just square, and if I will warp to them in range, it will
Warp
appear.
drive active.
There, it appeared. The little icons that complete the hex on it. Alright, what have I missed? What have I missed? Okay, so scouting, yes. So if I, warp to a planet, and I scout something
Warp drive
on my
active.
regular A-norm gates, or convig gates, or whatever you name your overview, then we can use the scout scanner to potentially narrow things down. So if you scan something in a direction, you can quickly switch to your scout and scan again, and voila, there are towers and all this kind of stuff. This is kind of a bad example because I would have liked it to be like, oh, there is someone specifically there, and then scan it, and then there's a tower there. But yeah, the idea is that you can use the overview to help you out quite well. Are there any questions?
All seems to be pretty straightforward.
Cool, excellent. Hopefully this wasn't too long. And if it was, I apologize. But yeah, that concludes the overview full settings. Oh shit, no it doesn't. I need to talk about importing and exporting. So to import overview profiles, you will download the IG overview here, and then when you import it, just make sure that they're all checked, and that way when you appear here, you will see them all in here, and when you open your overview settings, they will appear as options here. There we go. Now that concludes the overview tutorial. Toodles.
Perfect.